Some sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face, talking all Cleveland sports and, of course, food on our semi-famous Fat Boy Thursday. Here are your hosts, Fatty and Big Bry.
Well, Bri, I promised you the new one, and I screwed up and hit the wrong one. So guess what? It's our show. I'm going to play the new one. You all right with that?
Go for it.
But, Dad, isn't it time for Illegal Ham in the Face? But, bro, where's the banjo?
Some Cleveland sports shows try to give you hot takes, but only one can give you a big old piece of hot ham. Welcome to Illegal Ham to the Face. Talking all Cleveland sports. And don't forget our Fat Boy Tuesday, where we also ham it up with some fun food topics. Without further ado, let's serve up some ham. Here are the Ham Boys, Fatty, and Big Bry.
All right. So similar. We just switched it back to Tuesday. So welcome on in, everybody, to Illegal Ham in the Face. I am Jared Fatty Bates. He is Big Bry. What is going on, big fella?
Hey, man. Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We have Eric in here tonight. We have James in here tonight. Kind of nervous. The boys are on the way back home from their first school dance, middle school dance. I taught them all the moves I know, Bry. I taught them the sprinkler, the lawnmower, the funky squirrel. Any white boy dance you could think of, I tried to teach it to them.
Sounds like they're set up for success then.
I hope they did the lawnmower. God, I hope they did the lawnmower. It would have made my day to see them do the lawnmower. I can't believe Brad.
The heavy wheelbarrow? Did you teach them that one?
Oh, I did not teach him that one. Dang it.
Well, you got to say something for the second dance, right?
Well, and then I taught him, the whole, the fish, so they could do it together. See if they did it tonight.
Sure.
The excavator, which I had some fun with that today. We lost a track today, Bri, in a creek.
Oh, no.
No
I've seen that happen before. Yeah. Pain in the butt.
Big fella, how you doing? How was your Super Bowl, buddy?
Oh, man, it was my viewing experience was great, but it was an unexpected outcome for sure. I mean, you saw me make a fool of myself on here last week, and pretty much all my predictions went terribly wrong. So, like I told you, that's the great thing about sports is unpredictable. You never know what's going to happen, and I also told you that's what makes Las Vegas a ton of money. I can only imagine the amount of money they made.
Yes, it does. Ain't that crazy?
Yep. They knew what they were doing.
Yeah, I was like, there goes my $20 down the drain. And I couldn't believe it, Bri. I couldn't believe Philly came out like that. And I mean, Philly put it on them. And we'll get into more of that when we get in the show here a little bit. But man, oh man, what a time that was. National anthem and halftime sucked, James said. I liked one part of the halftime show. When you see Serena Williams out there doing her thing, got to have some fun with that.
I couldn't believe it. I kind of did a double take, and I'm like, that's Serena Williams? I didn't even say anything because I didn't want to sound like an idiot. But then, they started talking about it like 5-10 minutes later. Like, I could have sworn that was her, but I thought I'd sound like a fool. But, there's Serena Williams. That looks like Serena. Oh, that looks like Serena. No, I kept my mouth shut.
I love it.
I don't want to be that guy.
Definitely don't want to be that guy. Our show is brought to you by Heroes History APA. We want to thank him. Also, City Dogs Cleveland. Gazelle got adopted last week. I told Beth that was the best breaking news that we got on our show in a very long time. And we have a new pup tonight for our trivia, which, Bri, you have got trivia. We are going to talk tonight. The Myles Garrett saga still keeps going as he did his media blitz down Super Bowl row. We're also going to be talking about a Cavs trade to get a nice wing player, Bri, something that we've been asking for a very long time. Also, we are going to dive into top 3 Jim Carrey movies tonight. And then we are going to recap some food from the Super Bowl. We had a few people comment on our YouTube and TikTok pages with some of the things they did for their Super Bowl. Now I want to run it by Big Brian and see if he agrees with the spread that they put out. But, Bri, do you have any shout-outs this week, my brother?
I guess I'll start. Well, my only shout out, really. I told you I was going to go to a Super Bowl party, but kind of keep it low key. So there were like maybe 10, 15 people that were there and stopping by. And yeah, my first shout out, or my only shout out, goes to my buddy's stepdad, Tom Marin, who is a big Philadelphia Eagles fan and grew up in the area. Has loved the Eagles his whole life. Big Philadelphia sports fan, so I watched it with him. So that was kind of cool, just to be with somebody enjoying the championship. And you know, I kind of mentioned it when the Buckeyes won. You know, you're not always happy for the team or the fan base as a whole for winning a championship, but there's certain people, you know, they're like Tom's just all around great dude. So when you see somebody like that enjoy a championship for one of the very few times in their life, you can't help but be happy for them. So shout out to him and all the other good guys, good gals that are Philadelphia Eagle fans.
I got one popped up on my timeline today. One of our friends, and especially in the Illegal Ham to the Face Fantasy Football League, Nick Wallace's birthday was today, so shout him out.
Right.
I sent him a happy birthday. Also,
I saw him on. He was there on Sunday. I sat right next to him to watch Super Bowl, so we had a good time. He was kind of giving me the lowdown on all the stuff happening at the halftime show because I was completely oblivious to all this stuff. So helped out a little bit.
Yeah, you're not the only one, Bri. I was still kind of confused with what that was. But it kind of shows you where we are at in age right now with that one, because it was like, oh, what? But, I mean, it was a good performance. I'm not saying it wasn't, especially with Samuel L. Jackson. You can't go wrong with that.
I enjoyed the music, but yeah, like you said, I guess I'm getting old because a lot of it sounded pretty similar, but it wasn't bad. But yeah, it's hard for me to get too excited about something I've never heard of before, and then people freaking out about this or that, or I can't believe he did this, I can't believe he did that. Like, it all went over my head. I had no idea what was going on.
Toby is here tonight. What's going on, brother? All right, Bri.
So, Toby,
I told you that we had a new pup tonight. It is your turn for trivia tonight. I gave you a wonderful gem last week with the Seattle Seahawks. What are you coming back with to me with tonight?
well, we got some Super Bowl trivia for you. Yep, Super Bowl trivia. The timely stuff. So, there are 4 NFL teams that are undefeated in the Super Bowl. Yep.
We got to play the sounder and show off the dog first.
As you were.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry. Our puppy tonight.
No, jump the gun.
Our puppy tonight from City Dogs, Cleveland, is Enya. And here's a beautiful pup face right here. Boom. She is 4 years old, weighs 42 pounds. She has some problems. She is going through heartworm treatment right now. Okay. This beautiful pup needs a home to relax in while she recovers from everything that she is going through. Brian, look at that. I mean, she wears a sweater just like Lil does.
Mm-hmm.
What a beautiful face this is. I want to thank everybody. I guess this past weekend we forgot to send it along. I did not know until today. $21 adoptions were last weekend. Bri, 28 dogs were adopted over the weekend. Thank you to everybody that adopted. Helped them clear out the kennels a little bit.
Awesome.
Because I know they were overstuffed and they had some sitting on the animal control buses waiting to find shelters. So thank you guys so much for that. But here's Enya. If you can please adopt, donate, or volunteer with City Dogs Cleveland, we would greatly appreciate it. All right, Brian. Okay, so Super Bowl trivia.
Yep.
Okay.
My bad. I apologize. Jumped the gun there. Super Bowl trivia. I'm looking for the 4 teams that are undefeated in Super Bowls. Never lost.
4 teams undefeated in Super Bowls that never lost.
And I'll give you some hints along the way. But I'll give you 3 strikes, let's say. Give you a hint after every strike.
Okay. All right. I like it. All right, Brian. Well, it's time to drop our Cleveland headline sounder, and let's get into the show. First off, for your Cleveland headlines tonight, Bri, today is a very special day for this household, your household, and every household here in Cleveland. Bri, spring is here. Pitchers and catchers have reported to Arizona. Spring training starts next week, brother. Baseball is back in the land. They did say they have a streaming service now for the Cleveland Guardians something that you can stream every game if you want to. It's a package that you can buy. They're still trying to figure out the fine line with the cable broadcast and all that stuff. But Bri, are you excited that baseball will be back soon?
I heard today $100 for the whole season. So that's a pretty good deal if you ask me. But yeah, I mean, to me, there's about like 5 or 6 stages of transitioning from winter to spring. And I think pitchers and catchers reporting is the first step to getting towards the spring. And then we got March Madness and opening day and the Masters, like a lot of those. And then the NFL draft, a lot of those are, the steps. But the very first one, well, I guess the Super Bowl ending, but it still feels like, middle of February, not even the middle of February. And then this weekend we got in Cleveland at the IX Center, we got the golf show. So that kind of gets your juices flowing for some nicer weather. But yeah, just hearing that baseball is, at the very early stages of starting their season. How could you not get excited, even if you're not a huge baseball fan like me? I'm not a diehard baseball fan, but I hear that, and it gets me thinking warmer weather.
Definitely gets you pumped up, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Almost T-shirt time.
Getting there. Although next week it looks a little cold.
Yeah, I saw one day of what is it? 15 is the high that we're supposed to be at.
Yeah, I think we're right around 20 is the high for a lot of the week.
Oh, yeah, we'll get through it. We got about a month and a half left, Brian. About a month and a half. Right about mid-March, you'll start getting some good days, and then get one more freak snowstorm where it's going to dump 18 inches of snow on us, and then it's going to be 70, and then you're just going to completely forget about it.
This is the dog. These are the dog days of the winter. Once football season is over, from that point through the end of February, it's rough. That's why I used to like, my wife and I used to go on vacation in mid to late February, because at least that gives you something to look forward to, getting away when it's so crappy out there. But with a baby, didn't do it this year, but yeah, we'll get through it.
How did Miss Maddie handle her first Super Bowl?
She did well. She went, she enjoyed, she saw, made it through the first half, and then her and Mama went home. I stayed and enjoyed the rest of the game, but yeah, it was a good time. She did well. A lot of people loving on her and playing on the floor, having a good time, a couple smiles. I think she enjoyed it. She loves watching football. I tell you that. My wife gives me a hard time, but she'll sit there and she'll watch it with me, even if she doesn't have a choice. She gets excited.
Yeah, you're going to love that. Next thing you know, it's going to be a pack and play right in front of the TV on Sundays, and you're just, oh yeah, going to love every minute.
Can't wait. Already there, basically. We're there.
All right. The other news that has come out, Myles Garrett did his, Jesus God, bro, he did his media blitz on Super Bowl row, just talking to anybody and everybody that he could, that he wants out of Cleveland. It would be nice, Bri. It sucks that he's being so nice about it. Because it's still, he's still a fan favorite here. He's still, and there's still time. Like we could patch this up and he could possibly come back. I doubt it, but man, it's just like, if you're going to leave us, just badmouth us, do whatever. That way we just don't like you anymore. And, we could just rip this Band-Aid off and be done with it. But he's been very cordial about it. But man, he has talked to everybody, Brian. And I mean, anybody that has got a podcast, a show, a morning show, he has been on it and been very adamant about it. Brian, what did you think about hearing all the Myles Garrett Super Bowl media blitz?
I mean, it's the only card he can play. I mean, not the only card he can play, but knowing Myles Garrett the way we do as Browns fans, he's a decent guy. He's not going to go Jimmy Butler and just set the town on fire and just trash the organization. He's too classy of a guy. He knows that when his career is over, he's coming back to Cleveland. They're going to honor him in some way, somehow, probably going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame as a Brown. And he still has ties with the community in several ways. One being as a part-time owner of the Cavs, and he's going to come back for Cavs games and not just be hated on and demolished like LeBron was at times throughout his career. So yeah, I get every move he's doing. I understand. This is kind of his last. I don't want to say his last effort, because he's going to have many more times, but this is when all the attention is on the NFL these last couple of weeks. And certainly he's one of the biggest stars in the NFL. And there are many, many, many opportunities to go on national shows, to let the national media, let the entire world know of his displeasure of the Cleveland Browns. And he did that. And, I felt like, he did it in a classy way. I know a lot of Browns fans may disagree, but without saying, hey, the Browns suck, they're going to suck, they're in cap hell, there's not much they can do, I don't see a way out of this. Without saying all that, he just kind of said, our timelines don't align in the short term, which basically means he wants to be on a good team and he doesn't think the Browns are going to be a good team. So, but, I don't know if this will die down over the next couple weeks, maybe months, but we're just probably going to be beat over the head with it for the next however many days until the draft. And then around draft time, it'll probably rise up again. He'll probably go out and do some more interviews, because I don't see him being traded. Not knowing the cap implications a whole lot, it doesn't sound like it would do the Browns any favors to trade him before, is it July 1st or June 1st?
Actually, I believe it's first off, I believe it's March. I think it's March 23rd. Somewhere around there when the new league year starts in March or whatever it is. I think that they get like a $33 million reprieve off of like the cap for him.
Okay.
So like I don't see anything happening until maybe a week before draft day and the NFL draft, if anything. But they could still kind of just Brian, he's under a 2-year contract. He's got no guaranteed money left. Browns have dug their heels in saying, hey, we're not trading you. He can ask to be traded all he wants to. And the next process of this whole shit show of an ordeal that we're dealing with now, Bri, is him just going, all right, well, I'm not showing up. I'm not going to show up to training camp. No, I'm not going to show up to preseason games. I'm just going to take my ball and go home. And I hope it doesn't come to that. I hope that, they can kind of reach a resolution between the organization and Myles. But that's the only card that he has. Brown's only card they have is we're not going to trade you. And if they dig their heels in, how many people are going to be coming in and saying, hey, we're going to give you 2 firsts. Well, we already got offered this by Detroit. So you're going to have to do better than that. And they could just sit there and take all the offers they want to on Myles Garrett and see what they get.
Yeah, and I expect them to do that. And honestly, I think that's the way to handle it if you're Andrew Berry and the Browns. You can't just say, yeah, okay, Myles, you were great for this franchise. All right, we're looking to move you because you're going to get back pennies on the dollar. And we kind of saw it a little bit with Baker Mayfield, getting a 6th-round pick for him. Even the people like me who don't fully believe in Baker Mayfield, you can get better than a 6th-rounder for him. You could get a 3rd or a 4th or something at least. But everyone knew that the Browns had moved on. They had Deshaun Watson on the roster. And Baker Mayfield was an afterthought, and you just get what you can get for him. And so we got a 6th-rounder. So, you don't want to make that same mistake with Myles Garrett. And I think there will be a bidding war amongst other teams for Myles that we didn't see with Baker. But, yeah, I think both sides are playing it very well. They're doing what they have to do. Like I said, I thought I heard something about June 1st being at some point after June 1st. The Browns, that would benefit the Browns to not make a deal before then. But whatever the case may be, the Browns are going to hold out, and it might leak. It might come out that they have agreed to terms for a trade beforehand. That won't finalize till after this date. But yeah, I don't think the Browns. They have to make a decision. Are they going to try to reload and go after it again this year, or are they looking to rebuild? And I think by waiting till after the draft, you get all your team aligned. And if we take, say, a Shador Sanders with the 2nd overall pick, now he becomes somebody to try and recruit Myles back to the Browns. Like, hey, man, I'm here. I'm ready. We're going to do some special things. That's maybe something that Myles can get excited about, to where if you just sign like a Daniel Jones, and then you take, not to take a shot at Ohio State, but you take Will Howard in the 3rd or 4th round, and you have those 2 quarterbacks, that might not be something really for Myles to get excited about. But you take a quarterback at number 2, he starts talking to him, hey, man, you come back. I got the offense. You just handle the defense. We're going to compete. Maybe you can try to talk him into it. And who knows? I think just waiting is the best play for the Browns, because the interest in Myles Garrett is not going to die down. So there's no need for the Browns. There's no need for us to rush into a deal.
Yeah, and from what everybody, even they had a Didi on today on the Ken Carmen show this morning, and she was talking about it. There's not that many times that the She said she didn't vote for him for defensive MVP was because he was on a 3-win team, or she would have.
Sure.
Everybody knows
Sure.
in the league that Myles Garrett is one of the biggest game wreckers in the NFL. And there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Like he even came out and said he wants to be the best defensive player ever in the NFL. And that's what he's wanting to do. But and that's another thing. How many good years does Myles have left? We'll talk about that here in a second. But, you know, you sit there and you look at this situation, Bri, and like you and I talked, like, who's next? If Myles is wanting out, that's a big contract. Well, guess what? We already have one chink in the armor. Denzel Ward came out and said, well, if Myles is gone, you know, I might have to start rethinking my stuff. And then he walked it back very quickly and said, hey, we're a team here, all this other stuff. But, man, you have people in Buffalo playing for the Bills trying to recruit Myles Garrett to the Bills. Like, you can recruit all you want to, guys. It's not your damn decision where he goes. It's the Browns' decision and the best offer they can get for Myles Garrett if they want to trade him. So everybody can say their three, words of, oh, you should go to Kansas City. What about Detroit? How about Arizona with Kyler Murray? All these teams that are coming out there, guess what? It doesn't matter. If we want to send him to Siberia, they can send him to Siberia. It's in the Browns' hands right now. It's not Myles Garrett's hands.
Yeah, and I think Myles is maybe, I don't know if he's getting bad advice or maybe he's just not understanding. Defensive players usually aren't judged on the amount of championships they have. Like quarterbacks are. Quarterbacks, you're judged by how many championships you have. But that's kind of the only position that really does that. Like wide receivers, when somebody brings up how great a wide receiver Jerry Rice was, usually they don't talk about how many championships he has or Randy Moss or T.O. or anything like that. And I feel like kind of the same thing goes for defensive players. Like, is there anybody out there that's saying Chris Jones, even though he's a great defensive player and he's probably a Hall of Famer, is anybody saying Chris Jones is better than Myles Garrett? Like, oh, Chris Jones is better than Myles Garrett. Look, he has 3 Super Bowls. Like, no, I don't really feel like that's the case, really. And same thing goes for Bruce Smith never got a title. Reggie White, I can't remember if he was on that Green Bay team in the 90s that won it all, but nobody really points to. Yeah, Jared Allen this year going in. Nobody really points to these great defensive players, and this guy's so great because he got championships. And Deion Sanders got a couple, but he kind of jumped around. He went to, he did kind of the Kevin Durant thing where, the 49ers are good, I want to go to the 49ers. Oh, the Cowboys are good, I want to go to the Cowboys. And but nobody really says, well, Deion's a great defender because he won 3 championships or 2 championships or whatever. So I think Myles just has that in his mind. I don't know if he's been talking to LeBron too much. I don't know if he's been talking to other guys in the league at the Pro Bowl that just kind of get in their head. But yeah, I mean, Aditi saying that doesn't help Cleveland's case. If Myles Garrett truly believes I'd be the 2-time defensive player of the year if I was just on a halfway decent team, you're telling me you didn't vote for me because I was on a 3-win team. Yeah, I'm going to want to get out of town then. So yeah, that doesn't help the Browns at all for people admitting that. And I think that's wrong. Joe Burrow got a bunch of MVP votes this year. His team didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah, I just, Bri, it's just such a weird thing. Like, of all people, I never thought like Nick Chubb, Myles Garrett, like them to be the one to draw the line in the sand saying, hey, this is how it's going to be. Because I always kind of pictured Myles Garrett like Joe Thomas, right? But obviously he has different goals than what Joe wanted. Joe had a home here. He grew up, he wanted to be here. Myles' goal is to win a Super Bowl, Bri. And let's be honest, the way the Browns have built and shook things up over just, say, the past 6 years, what makes you think that they're going to be a contender, Bri? And it's just, man, I get where he's coming from. Because, I mean, if your main goal is to win a Super Bowl, you want to ring and say that I am a Super Bowl champion, then go get it, bud. Like, I'm not going to be upset that you're doing that because you look at where we're at right now. Because, Christ, even today, Matt Stafford got brought up today. Matt Stafford, quarterback of the Browns. And then they're talking about all the retreads of like, well, look how good Sam Darnold did in Minnesota. Well, look at Jared Goff in Detroit. Look at Baker resurrect his career in Tampa Bay. Look at all these other quarterbacks that were other people's trash that you can bring in and with your culture and everything, they might do good. Bri, our culture sucks right now. It really does because we can't get consistent winning here, no matter what it is.
Yeah, I really didn't. So I heard about the Matt Stafford stuff, but I really didn't ever hear like the origin of it. Was it just a blogger throwing out the fact that Matt Stafford could be available? Like, was there any substance behind these reports
about Matt? No, I don't think so. I think it's because he's becoming isn't he a free agent after this year?
Not that I know of. I've never really heard. I think he may be, but I've never really heard his name brought up until like today.
But see, this
unless they're connecting the dots like Myles for Stafford.
I have no clue. Or at least a stable veteran in here to kind of, keep Myles happy. I don't know what's going on. Like, and then you look at the quarterbacks we do have. Well, yeah, it's everybody's going to be throwing darts at the wall until something sticks.
Right.
But I mean, even Justin Fields got brought up today, Bri. Daniel Jones has been brought up. And you're sitting there hearing all this stuff, and it's like, I've already watched these guys. Like, I've already seen it. And why do we have to do a retread? Why do we have to do a 37, 38, 39-year-old retread just to bring it in for 1 year to see it's not going to work and then have to start this process all over again?
Because that's reality. I mean, for the people that say, "Oh, I don't want this veteran, I don't want that veteran, I don't want that veteran," and then, okay, well, you got to draft a guy. Oh, I don't want to draft a guy. Like, do people just want us to trade for Joe Burrow?
I don't know. I don't know.
Like live in the real world. There's no way we can get a top 15 quarterback in the NFL. We're settling for somebody between 15 and 25 if we're lucky. And 15 might be a Sam Darnold, which you have to pay a ton of money for. So, like, I don't think we can afford him. Like, this is the reality. This is the situation we're in. You either have to pray that somebody you draft turns into a Jaden Daniels or somebody close to that, or you're taking a guy who a lot of people say suck. And, that's why Kirk Cousins, nobody gets excited about Kirk Cousins. But is there a chance he can play some good football still? I believe so. But all these guys, there's just a chance you can be good. There's no guarantee you're good. So it's just, we're in an ugly situation, and there's really no good solution to it. So people are just going to have to get comfortable with a bunch of mediocre answers at quarterback.
And you know something, Bri? You have said it the best. Bri, we are back in QB purgatory again. And, it just sucks that this is happening right now. And I know what you said last week about, people should have wished that Deshaun did good. Bri, something, I would love to have good quarterback play, but even after the first 11 games when he came back, he didn't even look right. Like, he did not look right. And we can all say that, he had a couple halves of football that he looked good and a couple things but Bri, even this year, he looked like he never played the game. And that's how bad it was. And you can tell that because with people in the pocket, this offensive line did so much better. Like, he took one read and he was trying to get out of the pocket and trying to get away from everybody. And But man, we just got to find some kind of stability at quarterback. I don't care if it's 2 years with Matthew Stafford. I don't care if it's 1 year with, good God, dare I say it, Daniel Jones. We just need somebody here to stabilize something so that we can build a culture back up again, because the culture's broken.
Yeah, I mean, like Matt Stafford, if we can find a way to land Matt Stafford, I would say that's a grand slam this offseason. Like, I don't really think that's a realistic option, unless you trade Myles Garrett for Matt Stafford and a couple picks or something like that, which, could that happen? I think that might be the only way you can get Matt Stafford, but do you really want to trade Myles Garrett for a second rounder and a 37-year-old quarterback that might give you 1 or 2 years, and you don't know, he's coming to Cleveland. He's never really played. Even when he was in Detroit, he played inside. He's never really played going to Georgia. He's never played in weather like this. But he's a tough guy, and he's still got probably a couple good years left in him. So maybe that's your Hail Mary. But yeah, are we going to get into the Super Bowl later, or do you just want to? I don't know if we'll have enough time.
We can talk Browns whenever, Brian. Let's get into like more current stuff, because this is
Okay.
me down.
Well,
why?
I know. To transition, you brought up Deshaun Watson and just how timid he looked this year, and how just scared he was to throw the ball down the field because he didn't want to make a mistake and he didn't want to turn it over. And to transition that to the Super Bowl, that was the most shocking thing I think I've ever seen, was with Pat Mahomes. Kind of looked like Deshaun Watson. Like, he was afraid. Like, I give credit to the defensive line from Philadelphia, because they were unbelievable, and they didn't blitz. It was just 4 defensive linemen getting after him. But there were times where Mahomes had a chance to get rid of the ball, and he didn't. So I don't know if you give credit to the Philadelphia secondary for having all the guys covered, or the defensive coordinator for scheming it up in a certain way. But like, Pat Mahomes, like when it really mattered, what they had 23 yards in the first half. I'm telling you, that's worse. That's worse than the Browns ever looked this year. But yeah, I was seeing glimpses of Deshaun. Like, I've seen this before. Like, okay, get rid of it now. You have to get rid of it now, or you're taking a sack. And he wouldn't get rid of it, and then he would take the sack, and he would just kind of keep running around. And like, I don't know. It was just, it was wild to watch. Like I said, give credit to Philadelphia, but I don't know what was going on in Mahomes' head. That's not the Mahomes that we've seen for most of his career.
No. And he started to get back that way after they were already down, and Philly kind of called off.
Yeah, garbage time. He got right.
But like, Brian, that you asked, like, is it the secondary for covering? If it's a defensive, Brian, it was that defensive line. That defensive coach looked at him and said, "Boys, pin your ears back. We're going after him." Plus, it doesn't help they were one-dimensional. They could not run the ball to save their life. Pacheco
didn't even try.
They didn't even try. And then they would do like, hey, it's 2nd down and 13. Well, we haven't run it in a while. Let's try to run it, and you lose 2 more yards. Like, it's like,
right.
I'm just watching it. At first, like, Brian, when I turned it on, I was flabbergasted, because at first I didn't see the first touchdown because we were doing other things. I got back on, it was 7-0. I'm like, all right. And then next thing you know, they go down and kick a field goal. I'm like, all right, well, they're down 10. Let's see what happens. And then I think the dagger in the heart was Cooper DeJean with the pick 6.
Sure.
And then finally the last dagger, Devontae Smith, that bomb from Hurts to Devontae Smith. But like, Jalen Hurts looked like, Brian, dare I say, like NFL MVP-esque that game. Like, he did it with his feet. Pretty much the Kansas City defense said, we're taking away Saquon Barkley, and we're going to let Jalen Hurts beat us, and Jalen Hurts beat you.
Yeah, it was a wild, almost a boring, almost a like a very disappointing game to watch as a fan. Like, if it wasn't the Chiefs going for a three-peat and getting blown out, you would say you're pretty disappointed with what you saw, because you go back and look at the stat book, like Saquon Barkley didn't really do much. Pat Mahomes didn't do much until garbage time. Even Jalen Hurts, like, numbers, they're not that great. He ran the ball really well. So if you're into quarterbacks running for 10 yards, that was aesthetically pleasing. But you played a good game. Don't. I'm sorry, go ahead.
But when those 10 yards is when they needed them, though, Brian. It wasn't like it was, he would sit there, look back, nobody was open. Next thing you know, he's off 10 yards, first down, drive alive, keep going. And it seemed like any time that they were getting ready to be taken out by Kansas City's defense, he would come up with a play where he would either get 10 yards or find somebody to do it. It just seemed like one of those things, like Jalen Hurts was not about to be beat in this game.
Yeah, maybe I'm speaking as a scorn better of the game. I think like two offensive players went over their yardage. Like, it was Devontae Smith because of that one catch, and it was Xavier Worthy because of the two long touchdowns. Like, other than that, everybody else went under, and a lot of them went under significantly. So, like, as far and as we talk, everyone who has watched football knows, turnovers usually spell the story of the game. And, you get two turnovers like that in the first half. One goes for a touchdown. The other one is like at the 15-yard line or something. And then you get one when the team's down like 24-0. You get one at the start of the third quarter. And it's like, no team can come back from that. So, like, the wow plays were there, but they weren't really, other than maybe the long one to Devontae Smith, there weren't really many wow plays on offense, I feel like. But I love that. I love that play call. Throwing it deep to Smith. I think it was on a first down or something. Maybe it was the first play after the strip sack. You think they're just gonna go conservative here. They got Saquon Barkley, just run the clock out, run. I was kind of saying at halftime, you just hand it off to Saquon Barkley the whole second half, and you guarantee yourself a win. But they didn't do that. They went for the jugular, and I love that call. And I love, he got open and he was underthrown even a little bit, but he made the play, and that was, lights out at that point. But yeah, I mean, good for Philadelphia. Good for everybody who was sick and tired of the Kansas City dynasty just rolling and winning everything, and even this whole year just barely getting by the skin of their teeth. And I really felt like Buffalo should have beat them. And that's why I kind of like I picked Kansas City, because everyone was telling me that Buffalo's a better all-around team than Kansas City. Buffalo should win the game. And then they lost. And then I hear going into the Super Bowl, Philadelphia is a better all-around team. They should win. And I'm like, I just can't believe it now. I heard it last week, and Kansas City found a way to win. And so I thought, well, that's just going to happen again. But yeah, I mean, something that we find out time and time again, the way to beat these great quarterbacks is with a great pass rush defensive line. And, we saw it again. Brady and the 17-0 Patriots or 19-0 Patriots, how did they lose? Because the Giants had a great defensive line and they got after him with only 4 guys. How did Pat Mahomes get blitzed against Tampa Bay? Defensive line getting pressure on him. He doesn't have time to make his reads, and so we saw it again. So I think to bring it back to the Browns, I think Myles Garrett's stock went up because defensive linemen that can get after these elite quarterbacks, and we've seen it in Cleveland against Joe Burrow and even Lamar Jackson a couple times. That's how you beat them. Unfortunately for Myles, we just haven't had a whole 4 guys on the line that could get to these guys without blitzing or anything like that. And I think honestly, that's where the Browns' head was when they made the Mike Hall pick because he's a pass rushing defensive tackle.
Yeah, and I agree with that one. I think, that was the reason why they picked Hall. Get some disruption up the middle, flush out the quarterback so the pocket's all messed up so Myles Garrett could, but also we got to factor in, right? I mean, Myles Garrett gets held every down and it never gets called. So, Myles Garrett technically could have, if holding was actually called the way it should be, Myles Garrett, it would either A, be flagged every play or have 36 sacks in the season. So,
I agree. Yeah, it's. But I mean, like, if I'm Buffalo, if I'm any of these teams trying to beat Kansas City, I'm just blowing all my money, all my draft picks on defensive linemen and secondary guys, like guys to cover in the back end, but maybe more importantly, defensive line to get to them. And I think. Kansas City's offensive line might get a little bit weaker this offseason with maybe losing Trey Smith as a right guard. And, certainly they have issues at tackle. So this might be the opportunity you have to find the chink in the Kansas City armor. And who knows, Kelsey could be done. We'll see.
Bri, before we move on from the Super Bowl and talk a little bit of Cavs before Fat Boy Tuesday, Bri, what was your best commercial?
I'm not great with commercials. There was okay, I got you. The seal one was the one that I probably got a chuckle out the mind. And I don't even remember what they were advertising, but I thought that was pretty good. Caught my eye and my ear.
Oh my God! As soon as I saw it was Mountain Dew Baja Blast, and as soon as I saw that, I started crying, and I went and got my wife so that she could watch it. Brian, that one, I lost it with that one because that was the one thing. Like, really, seal as a seal, and then trying to open up.
Loved it.
I was like, genius. And the other one was what was it? Uber Eats. With Matthew McConaughey going through all the football with the name of the pigskin. That was really good too. I
like those.
Yeah. All right, Brian, let's get into the Cavs, Brian. The Cavs, Brian, say goodbye to our, what is it, minivan, school bus, minivan?
Minivan
And Karis LeVert are gone. We got DeAndre Hunter from the Atlanta Hawks, a 6'8" wing, Brian, that can play defense and shoot, and he is young. And boy, did he make an impact last night, Brian. I think he had 12 points last night for his first game. Pretty much tried to shut down Ant-Man the entire time. But, Brian, we've been asking for a wing, and, Brian, they went out and got one, and a very young one at that. How are you excited about DeAndre Hunter?
I'm over the moon for him. I was asking for him last year. Can't remember if it was in the off season or I think it was maybe at the trade deadline. Just looking at his numbers, what he shoots, and also remembering I wanted him in the draft going back to when he was eligible coming out, and I believe it was a Darius Garland draft, and I wanted Hunter because I know that you need big wings that can play defense and shoot. And so him coming out of Virginia, I thought there wasn't anybody great in that draft. I didn't think Garland was great. Well, we just didn't know much about him because he didn't play much in college. So I wanted Hunter. He was my guy, and I think he went either the pick before or 2 picks before Garland. So I was pretty bummed about that. But then doing some research last year, seeing he's coming off the bench in Atlanta, I'm like, maybe there's a way we can find out to get this guy. And sure enough, they didn't do it last year. And I think last year I was even like, ready to give up. We'll trade Darius Garland straight up for him. And this year, honestly, if you held me down and asked me, I probably would have given up Darius Garland again to get Hunter because I think he just adds a different element to this team that I've been asking for. A lot of fans have been asking for ever since LeBron left. It was a big wing that can shoot and defend. And so, yeah, this was the best move they could possibly make, giving up. I love LeVert, me, the Michigan guy, but everything we heard, he was probably gone after this year. And, he's been inconsistent. He's been really good at times, but he's kind of disappeared at times. So I don't know if he was somebody that you can count on night in and night out. And then George Niang, he's a great, well, not great. He's a nice regular season player. But I feel like after seeing him in last year's playoffs, he's just the guy that you can't count on. You can't even put him out there on the floor. I'd be disappointed if I ever saw him in the playoffs. So yeah, to give up those two guys for a guy that I think, should be in your starting lineup going forward. I'm still not sure. Maybe you can inform me on what his contract situation is and how long we have him for. But I would love to keep him around for, the foreseeable future, several years at least.
I will get back to you on that. My kid stole my phone so that he could put Beat Saber on his MetaQuest.
Well, sure. I know. I get that.
Hey, earlier, that's what he came upstairs and he's like, Dad, I'm like, how was the dance? He goes, I don't care about the dance. Give me your phone. I'm like, what do you need my phone for? And it's like, I got to put Beat Saber on my MetaQuest so I can play. I'm like, all right, whatever, dude.
Sure.
I just whatever anymore.
Highlight of the night.
Hey, I was actually super excited they got DeAndre Hunter, especially with the size, Brian. We needed size. Okoro's been hurt. Dean Wade's been hurt. He slots right in there in that 3 spot. And, to watch him play the way he played coming in and not even getting with like the full team yet. Like, Brian, he hasn't been to practice that much. He just passed physical. He just got in there. And, Brian, he just got in and started playing basketball. And next thing you know, threes are dropping. He's stopping people going to the lane. And they blow out Minnesota, very good Minnesota Timberwolves team last night. And it was great to watch. I loved every minute of it. I'm glad they finally got a 6'8" guy in there to play wing. Now, a lot of people have commented that he should come off the bench. I do not believe that one bit. I think he should start. A lot of people want Dean Wade in instead of him in the starting package. I would rather have him because he's more of more of a two-way player and can actually score more than what Dean Wade can, I believe. That's just me personally. I like Dean Wade coming off the bench and Okoro coming off the bench there on that second team to kind of give a lot of people a break, and we can kind of go bigger with that second team. But yeah, it was a great trade, especially for what you gave up. You didn't have to even give up your first round pick, which you still get a kept.
Right.
And I think it was one of the great moves that Kobe Altman's done. And I mean, dare I say, finally, Bri, that we can say that we have a competitive team to go against Boston now with a 6'8" wing that can defend. They made made this move for the playoffs, Bri.
For sure. And maybe it was a blessing in disguise that we lost to Boston last week, because maybe it opened their eyes to say, hey, we're good enough to get the 1 seed. We're good enough to, advance in the playoffs. But if we want to beat this Boston team, we need somebody big to guard Tatum and Brown out on the perimeter that has a little speed and a little length. And for the record, I've never really been a big Dean Wade fan. I feel like he's overhyped. I think the Cleveland media likes him better than he actually is. I think he's like George Niang. It probably plays a little bit better defense than Niang does. But I think because you're so deprived of size on the perimeter, he gets pushed up a little bit. But I don't think he's like super athletic. I don't think he's a great scorer. I just think he provides you length on the wing that not many other guys have. But, in a perfect world, I think he's more of a 4. He's more of a power forward. If you were to ever get rid of Jared Allen, you put Mobley at the 5, and then you could put D Wade at 4. I think I like him better in that position. But yeah, I mean, once you get to the playoffs, you're strangling down the minutes. You're strangling down the amount of guys that are actually seeing the floor. So we have, and absolutely 100%, I agree with you that Hunter should be in your starting lineup. Anybody who says otherwise, I think, is just maybe old school or just talking about like, yeah, if we have one guy coming off, we already like Hunter and Ty Jerome were like two of the top guys getting votes for sixth man of the year. So you have two of the best quote unquote bench players. You know, Hunter should go into the starting lineup. So you got your starting five, you got Ty Jerome. You probably only run 7 or 8 guys in the playoffs if you're really competing because you want your stars out there. So you got Ty Jerome. He's going to play for sure. So you're really only looking at maybe 1 or 2 other guys to get minutes in the playoffs, meaningful minutes. So like you're going to have to decide: is that Okoro? Is that Strus? Is that Dean Wade? You know, I don't know. I don't think Jalen Tyson is ready for that atmosphere yet, being as young as he is. But yeah, I mean, so you got your 6 there, and then you're gonna fill in a couple guys, maybe depending on matchups. So I feel good about their top 6 though. And Boston's always going to be a difficult matchup because of their size. Porzingis is, you know, if he's healthy, he's a monster. He's 7'3", so he's going to be difficult to guard, and he can step out and shoot the outside shot. So still going to be a tough matchup. I don't think we've passed Boston yet. I would still put us at the number 2 spot, but I was going to ask you, like, what are you looking for? What are you really going to be paying attention to the rest of the way through the regular season until we get to playoff time?
You know something, Brian? I think we should save that to next week.
Okay, I got you. Yep, that's good.
The only reason why, because there's something to talk about next week. And
sure.
It keeps Chris listening in right now because Chris made it in. So did Mom. But I think we save that to next week. That way we can see what this team is like, because we only got 1 game with Hunter. Let's get a couple games with Hunter underneath our belt and take a look-see and seriously think about this, because I think our expectations might change after a couple games with Hunter in. And, Brad, dare I say that this move might have put you right up there with the Boston Celtics? We'll find out.
It definitely helps you. I agree. It helps you.
All right, Brian, go ahead.
Also, well, I wasn't sure. I was going to ask you, maybe you know, maybe you don't know. Is this weekend the All-Star game?
I believe, is it this weekend or next weekend? I believe it's this weekend.
I can't remember.
I think the Cavs
that'd be a good time to talk about it.
Yeah, so I think the Cavs have one more game, and then we can talk. I think it is this weekend, Bri. I think All-Star game
usually around Valentine's Day. Yeah.
So I'll check and sure. Hold on. Here, we'll do it real quick right now. Let's see here. 14th through the 16th. So it is this weekend.
Right. Okay. Cool.
So, and I think the Cavs have one more game before the All-Star break. Tomorrow night against the Raptors. So they have one more game before the All-Star break. So let's get one more game under our belt with Hunter.
Oh, sure. It's a good time.
Let's see here. Reginelli, Cavs to the championship. Reg is here. Thank you, Reg.
Wouldn't that be nice? I'll take a run. I'll take the finals. Yeah, if you can guarantee me the finals, I'll sign up for that right now.
All right, Brian. We'll do a quick Fat Boy Tuesday, and then we'll do our top 3 and close it out with the trivia.
And now, it's time for Fat Boy Tuesday.
It is time for Fat Boy Tuesday, Bri. Love those pictures coming up. I just saw the hot dog. It's the only thing I saw in most of those pictures. But, Bri, I brought up to you, we had a couple of people in the comments because we asked them last week, like, what do you guys do for your Super Bowl parties, your spreads, everything else? Now, Bri, in my house, we did little sneezers. We did a couple of Little Caesars pizzas with some breadsticks, and then Daddy got
Okay.
some Italian cheesy bread, which I love the most. Brian, what did you do what was that Super Bowl spread that you were at?
It wasn't bad. We had wings. We had pizza from Courthouse Pizza here in Medina. It was very good. My wife made like a taco dip, like a hot crock pot taco dip with ground beef and corn and everything in it, which I've been eating for the last couple days because there were a little bit left. Then we had some, desserts, chips, veggie tray. I would say maybe the best thing I had was we did, like you're probably going to talk about. I mentioned Tom is a big Eagles fan, so we did have the cheesesteaks. We had the Philly cheesesteaks from Jersey Mike's Subs, which was really good. So I had a couple of those.
How big were they? What did you eat? The giant ones?
Well, they had the giant ones, but they were cut in four.
Okay.
So I had, two like 3 or 4 inch ones. Well, I had one, and then my wife took like 3 bites out of hers and gave me the rest of hers. So I'm like, all right, I guess we'll eat that.
That's the best when that happens, right? Especially when you love the food that much, and your wife's like, "Well, I'm not like this anymore." You got to control.
I got her pizza too.
Yeah, you got to control your emotions. Like you're at the playground, and you see all your best friends running around. You're like, "I get to eat it, yes."
I'm not viewed as a fatty now. I'm viewed as a hero because I'm finishing her food. I'm not wasteful.
That's great. All right. So I told you that in the comments, we had somebody come in our comments, and it was on YouTube and TikTok. And they do their Super Bowl spread depending on what team's in. So they had like baby back ribs. They had corn casserole for Kansas City. They had Philly cheesesteaks for Philly. They also had some other stuff for Philly. Brian, that sounds like a fantastic time to do a spread like that. It's because, like we always joke around, like normally during the season, we'll be like, all right, so for Frat Boy Tuesday, we're playing the Steelers this week. Let's talk about Pittsburgh food. And like to think about it though, like that's genius because at the point in time, it kind of gets you in the mood because you know what's happening. You're like, man, I get some Kansas City barbecue ribs. I go over here and I get a cheesesteak. We're playing Philly. It's Kansas City. I think that's a genius idea to do. They did say it's been hard the past like 8 years that Kansas City's been in the Super Bowl that keep coming up with Kansas City foods. But I mean, I think that's an awesome idea for anybody's Super Bowl party.
Well, and I wonder if that changes their viewing experience. Like, does that change who you root for? Were they rooting for, I love Philly cheesesteaks, so I want the Eagles to beat the Commanders, or I really want buffalo wings, so I'm rooting for the Bills because I'm tired of barbecue. So yeah, I'm sure that's got to factor in a little bit, I would think.
I mean, and they said their spread was fantastic. They said they've been doing it. He's been a Browns fan. He lives in Tampa now. Okay, so he's still a Browns fan. But he said they've been doing it for the past, 27 years. And every spread is different. Every Super Bowl. He said even like when they had Tampa Bay, he said it was hard when they had Tampa Bay because obviously,
right. I was going to ask you.
But he said it was fantastic. He goes, it's nice changing it up, getting different foods that you've never had before or want to try before. I mean, I love it. I mean, that's great because everybody in the NFL has their different food style. Let's just put it that way. Like, you got buffalo wings at Buffalo. You got here in Cleveland, Brian, let's not sugarcoat it. We got pierogies. We got sausage. We don't mess around when it comes to like certain foods on ours. Detroit, it's got pizza with the Detroit style pizza you could do. So there's so many different things, but I love that idea.
Yeah, gives you something to research heading into the Super Bowl because I'm sure every city, has got to have something. I don't know what Tampa would be. I'm being in Florida, I would guess some sort of seafood, but I don't know.
I guess we would have to look it up. I'm not looking it up now, but we'll look it up.
No.
Hey, When we play Tampa Bay again, we'll do Tampa Bay foods. Sound like a
that.
plan? All right.
Yep.
No, I just thought that would be a great, segue. Next week for Fat Boy Tuesday, Bri, Valentine's Day. We're going to do your go-to Valentine's dinner. If you're cooking for your wife, or you're taking your wife out to dinner for Valentine's Day, what'd you do for her?
All right.
You like it?
Got that. Yep, I got that.
All right, so let's get into our top 3 tonight, Brian. The reason why I brought this top 3 up is because I went down a rabbit hole last night after the Cavs blowout win, and I found a Jim Carrey movie that I have not seen since I was a little fella. And I started giggling, so I wanted to do our top 3 Jim Carrey movies. Let's play the sounder. All right, Bri. Top 3 Jim Carrey movies. Would you like me to go first?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Now, it's hard to narrow this down because they're all fantastic, Bri. They're all fantastic. I'm going to give one honorable mention. All right, Bri, you ready for this? One honorable mention.
Mm-hmm.
Fun with Dick and Jane. If you've never seen it,
It's been a while. Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen that one.
Fantastic. But that's not the one I watched last night, Brian. Number 3 for me is The Mask. Classic, great. Cameron Diaz. Just a funny all-around movie. Number 2 for me, Dumb and Dumber. Can't go wrong with that. And Brian, my number 1. And I watched it last night, and I laughed so hard I forgot how funny it was. Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls. I think it is better than the first one, even though I did watch the first one also. But When Nature Calls, I haven't laughed as hard as when he fought in the ring with, and just, if you haven't watched it, I was telling Reg about it today. Reg didn't even know who Jim Carrey was today, Brian.
What?
He goes,
Get
who's
out
Jim
of here.
Carrey?
How old is he?
And I said, how old are you? He goes, oh, he's the Grinch. I'm like, okay.
Oh.
You guys do Jim Carrey top 3.
Yeah,
So
he's
Brian,
a young one, huh?
Yeah, he's a youngin'. He's a youngin'. All right, so Brian, give me your top 3 Jim Carrey movies.
I don't even know if I can remember. I'm sure I've seen the second Ace Ventura, but I can't really remember that, so I'll have to check it out. Was it on TV, or are you just kind of looking for things to watch and stumble across it?
It's on Freevee. It's on one of the free streaming ones, but it's when he goes to Africa to solve the.
Oh, okay. Yep, I got you. Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen that.
So great, so great. The Slinky going down the temple steps.
That's right. Okay, nice. So I'm like you. I had a tough time narrowing it down. I got some different ones than you. I have two honorable mentions. One, Liar Liar. I feel like that was right in my wheelhouse growing up. And then Me, Myself, and Irene was another one I had to at least mention because it was really good. But so my top 3, number 3, it's maybe an older one, and I don't know if it's even one of his funniest ones, but for whatever reason, if it's on, I just enjoy watching it. Yes Man.
Yes.
Bradley Cooper and him, I think.
Got another one.
I don't know. Like I said, it's just easy to watch it. I'm not cracking up the whole time or anything like that, but just easy to watch, enjoyable. Number 2, I'm surprised you didn't bring up number 2, Cable Guy. Just a wacky one. Oh, it's just wacky and stupid, and one of his better characters. I thought, a little strange. So I'm not surprised. Yeah, I don't know if it's maybe one of his most well-rounded ones or most well-liked ones, but for whatever reason, kind of like a cult classic almost. But I really enjoyed that. And then number one, you know me, it's got to be Dumb and Dumber. It's absolutely one of the funniest, probably one of the most watched movies I've ever had. So another one, dumb, easy to watch. Doesn't take a whole lot of thinking. So those are my kind of movies.
I forgot one after you said Cable Guy and all that. Bruce Almighty. Definitely honorable mention on that one. Morgan Freeman.
Sure.
You can't go wrong with that one. All right. So, Brian, let's do our trivia, which is brought to you by City Dogs Cleveland. And here is our beautiful puppy, Enya, that needs to be adopted. 4 years old, 42 pounds. She does have heartworm disease that they're trying to give her medication for, and she needs a home to rest and recover. Please help out a city dog from City Dogs Cleveland. If you can adopt. But if you cannot, please volunteer, donate, do whatever you can do to help out a city dog from City Dogs Cleveland. I had to take a breath on that one, Bri. She's beautiful dog, Bri. She really is.
Yeah, and I think heartworm, once they'll get it figured out. It's not like too uncommon or anything like that with dogs, so it's nothing that I would think you'd have to worry about long term. But yeah, beautiful dog. Definitely love him.
By the way, we have here Liar's got to be in the top 3.
Yeah, I tried to fit it in there. I thought about it for sure.
And Beto, that'd be Bri, right? You have to wear the D&D suit next time. Is that your brother?
What? Yeah. The what? What do you say? I have to wear the what?
The D&D suit next time.
Oh, yeah, that's right. My cousin and I, for my college graduation party, we went up to some place in Strongsville and we rented the blue and orange tux from
Dumb and Dumber suit.
from Dumb and Dumber. So I had the orange tuxedo. There's a picture out there, and then I had some cousins or wives of cousins that dressed up like the bikini crew that were driving around in the truck. So it was awesome. It was definitely a hoot. Oh, it was hilarious. It was a lot of fun.
And he said that Shailene needs a birthday shout out, Mr. Beto.
Oh, I shouted her out last week. Go back to last week's episode. Thank you. My mother-in-law and my sister-in-law. Mother-in-law Janet, sister-in-law Shailene had birthdays last week. Love them.
Why does he call you Mr. Beto?
Because that was my name in Spanish class in high school, and it stuck with me through high school. All the whole basketball team called me Beto, and you know, him and I played basketball together. So yeah, he calls me that. And there's a few other people in Medina that'll shout me out, and I know that they're from high school. So some stupid Spanish name that just stuck.
It threw me off tonight because I saw Matt and I'm like, okay. And then I saw Mr. Beto. I'm like, I think this is his brother, but I'm not 100%.
Oh, no, I can't believe you never heard that. Yeah.
Like, okay, I call him other things too. I've never heard of Mr. Okay. All right, Brian.
He was Mateo and I was Beto. Yeah, so I'm down to 3%, so I got to go quick.
Go quick. All right, so
4 undefeated teams in the Super Bowl era.
New York Giants.
Nope, not the Giants. Good guess.
Tampa Bay.
Tampa Bay Bucks. Yes, sir. One of them. 2-0. Tom Brady and John Gruden. 2-0. One other 2-0 team. Nope. They lost last year. There's one other 2-0 team. Both teams have been both wins have been since 2000.
Baltimore.
Yep, there you go. There's 2, and then there's 2 1-0 teams. One of them has been in since 2000. I think maybe 2009, if that helps you at all. Against Peyton Manning.
It can't be Denver. It's got to be Indy.
NFC against the Indy NFC team. Drew Brees.
Oh, the Saints. Really?
Saints are 1-0, and then the other one, Joe Namath, 1-0, New York Jets.
New York Jets. That's a great one, Bri. That is
That's
a great
tough.
one. I didn't
Yeah,
even think
I
about
figured.
the Saints. All right. Well, Brian's gone. Hold on. Give me a God bless you real quick. Well, we lost Bri. He's at 3%. Thanks, Bri. Shailene takes back all the things she said about you. God, I can't wait to show him that later, Matt. I want to thank everybody for watching tonight. Bri, God blesses you. We want to thank our troops, first responders for everything you guys do. Thank everybody in the comments, Matt, Reg, James, Eric, Mom, Chris, Jocelyn, everybody that's in here tonight. Thank you guys so much. Please go like and subscribe. Tell your friends about Illegal Ham to the Face, at Ham Illegal on all of our socials. I want to thank our troops, first responders. Can't do it without you guys. And we are definitely uncorked, unloaded. We're out. We'll see you guys next Tuesday. Have a good night.